Thank you for joining me on my masterclass. Now, today we're talking about why people are poor and what you can do about it. Now, that's why people are poor and what you can do about it. And by about it, I mean what you can do to become wealthy. Now, you see, a lot of people in the third world are poor. And I know that because I traveled all around Africa. There's no part of Africa I've not been to. And then I traveled all around Asia. There's no part of Asia I haven't been to. And I've seen the systemic, endemic, generational poverty. It's very, very deep, in our parts of the world. And it's something that I want to do um, away with, and it's one of the reasons why I've done a lot of videos addressing poverty and teaching people how they can come out of poverty. But a lot of times you find out that the poverty is so systemic, it's so endemic, that people just want, they just want money. And money won't get you out of poverty because poverty is not about money, it's about a mindset. So you see, people are poor more as a result of lack of wisdom than as a result of lack of money. The mindset, it's so important. The mindset, it's so important. I can't overemphasize that. I'll give you an example. If you give a lot of poor people today, if you give them a hen, you almost immediately they're gonna kill that hen and they're gonna eat it almost immediately. It's almost immediately. I mean, you see that a lot of times. Like if you are on the internet, you see like rare wildlife, maybe like a whale washing up, in a beach somewhere in Africa, or like maybe like an elephant wandering out of the bush, or like stuff like that. You see, I mean, like it's sometimes it takes literally seconds, for that animal to be killed. Meanwhile, in other parts of the world, when that happens, they try to conserve that life, the wildlife, But poverty makes you do things. So when you're poor and you're given a hen, a lot of poor people, I would say most poor people, they'll eat that hen, and then tomorrow they'll look for eggs to beg for or to buy from a man who also got a hen. But instead of eating his own hen, what he did was that he kept it and then he waited for the hen to lay eggs. And so he had several eggs, he ate one and is able to sell it. So that's just the mentality. They don't have a mentality of multiplication. So it's not just even about hen. A hen, I just use that as like an analogy. If you let's just take money for instance, and I've seen this personally with some of my relatives and friends. They're poor, and then you give them money. Say you give them $1,000, and you just give them money because really, when you give someone money and you begin to tell them how they're going to spend their money, it's not like you're giving them money. It's not right. That's not how you give. So you give someone money and then you give it outright. You don't hold on to it by giving conditions. So you give them $1,000, you disappear, and then you come back in a week's time and you see them with a new iPhone, or you see them with a new shoe, or you see them with a new bag. These are poor people. And then, boom, they've consumed that money, they spent that money. They haven't invested that money at all. So you see, it's the mindset. It's the mindset. People are poor because they have a consumer mentality. They have a consumer mentality. And then it was when I traveled around Asia that I really began to get a deep sense of respect for Asians. Asians are very hardworking. And it was in Asia, specifically in India, Bangladesh, Cambodia, Thailand, even in Nepal, that I saw what they call prosumer. In Asia, they have a prosumer mindset. A prosumer mindset is someone that consumes what they produce. So that's the word prosumer. It's an actual word, an English word. It's called prosumer, a person that consumes what they produce. And so because they have that mindset, even if they are poor, they're not going to be poor forever. They're doing something that's going to take them out of that poverty. And even in that poverty, they can afford to feed themselves because they consume what they produce. A lot of times, to the extent that even their clothes, they produce the clothes that they wear. So that's a mindset that we all have to have, in the third world, that's going to get us out of poverty. This prosumer mindset, this producer mindset. So I'm going to put it this way: never, and that's very important, spend capital until you have capitalized on it. I'm going to say it one more time. Never spend capital until you have capitalized on it. Now, what do I mean? You see, everyone in the world has capital. I mean, I find it so frustrating when you tell poor people that you know what, you got to invest out of it, and then sometimes the way they'll talk as if it's your fault. How much money do I have? How much money do I have? So how can I invest? And then you begin to see the mentality that keeps them poor. You begin to see the mentality that keeps them poor. Everybody in the world has capital. It's just a matter of matters of degree. Some people have capital as small as $1. Other people they have capital as large as $1 million. But we all have capital. The thing about capital is this: when you capitalize, when you capitalize on your capital, it grows. When you consume your capital, that's when you spend it. It depletes. So, for instance, you have $1. You can capitalize on that $1 until $1 becomes $2. $2 and then $2 becomes $4 and then $4 becomes $8. $8 16 32 becomes 64 and then 64 becomes 128. So now you now have 128. You can always capitalize on it. There are little things that you can do, even if it's just to there's something that they call a gari in Nigeria, in Ghana. Now I was surprised because I know that they ate it in South America, but when I went to South America and specifically Brazil, when I saw that the way they eat gari in Brazil, they don't call it gari, they have their names for calling it. But the one that surprised me, they also have something called akara. Akara is like a bean cake that they make in Nigeria. It's so delicious. But they have it in Brazil. In fact, it's one of the most popular foods in Brazil. They sell it by the roadside. And just like in Nigeria, you see women frying it by the roadside in Brazil. And that's just one business that you can do with very little money, with $5. And then you can multiply your $5. And then when you get to a point where you have like $100, then you can begin to do things like invest in stock exchange, or invest in a gold ETF, or invest in cryptocurrency. So you start with whatever capital that you have, and then you capitalize on your capital. But when you have this idea that you are going to spend money that comes to you, and a lot of people are not even aware of it, they think everybody does it. Isn't that what people do with money? They just spend it. Yes, eventually you spend money, but before you spend it, you want to build it up so that you have enough for tomorrow, and then you begin to manage it in a way that you have a principal, and then you spend from your dividends. You spend from your dividend. And that's why they tell you that, you see, rich people, they buy liabilities last. They buy assets first. And not just any kind of assets, income producing assets. But poor people, they buy liabilities first. And so that mentality has to change, because if that mentality does not change, that poverty will continue. And I mean, a lot of people say that, oh, there's a generational curse in my lineage. There's a generational. But look, there is nothing like a generational curse. I'm an ordained pastor, I should know, and I'm telling you, I've read scripture in English, Aramaic, Hebrew, and Greek. There is no generational curse. I mean, I see it a lot. I've gone to Ghettos to preach, and some of them, when I saw the poverty, I began to weep. You see, the whole idea behind it is this: is that a lot of people don't leave money for their children. So their children have little capital to start with, because a lot of the times the money that you're going to start with business, you either get it from your parents or from banks. So if you see someone like Warren Buffett, he will tell you he started buying shares at the age of 11 because his father was giving him money. The same thing with Bill Gates. Bill Gates, not his father, his grandfather gave him money. I believe it was about $1 million. So here's the thing: when you do not leave money for your children, it's going to be very hard for them to get capital. And the reason why a lot of people don't leave money for their children is that their own parents did not leave money for them. And they've never sat down to think that the reason why their own parents did not leave money for them is because their own grandparents did not leave money for their parents. So if you are going to break that intergenerational, systemic, endemic, generational poverty, because that's what it is. It's generational poverty, not the generational curse. And the reason why there's a generational poverty is because of the generational bad financial habits that your lineage has been having. So if you want to break it, what you need to do is you need to leave something behind for your children. And then if you can't really leave something behind for your children, at least leave behind for them a life insurance. Life insurances these days are not very expensive. You can actually get a life insurance for as little, if you live in a country like Ghana, as little as one cedi in a day in Ghana. If you live in a country like Kenya, oh my gosh, in Kenya it's super, super, super easy. You can get life insurance for 3 Kenyan shillings a day. In the United States, you can actually get insurance for as little as $2 a day. In Nigeria, you can get insurance for 750 naira a day, which is less than $2. So you can actually get life insurance so that even if you cannot able to give your children wealth assets, by the time you die, they can cash in your life insurance and make a lot of money, and then go into business but because you also have to teach them, a new paradigm, a new mindset to have the prosumer mentality. Now, my name is Ronald Mokri, and if you've watched this video and probably you have questions about it, what you can do, put them in the comment section. Now, my staff are very good at curating comments. They'll bring the comments to me. I'll respond to the comments myself. But you got to be careful. Scammers have seen that my videos tend to go viral. So what they've done, they've created a bunch of fake YouTube profiles. I do not have a Gmail email address. I do not have a WhatsApp contact number. I do not have a Telegram channel. So when you see people approaching you in the comment section telling you WhatsApp guideline, I will help you, email me, those are scammers. They've scammed the number of people and made them suicidal. Don't let them scam you. Now, this is Ronald Mokri again. Thank you for watching, and God bless you.